is the Cosmos Hub Atom going to do a hard fork? That is a question that was really blowing up over crypto Twitter over the past week, ever since proposal 848 has passed. And this idea actually comes from Jae Kwon, the inventor of Tendermint, which dates back all the way to 2014, and the founder of Cosmos. With the passing of proposal 848 on the Cosmos Hub, we saw massive discussions around the future of the Cosmos Hub and its implication. What proposal 848 did, which, by the way, I helped co-author and was a big proponent of, the inflation maximum of Atom has been cut in half. Previously, the max inflation rate for Atom was at 20%. Now it is down to 10%. As an immediate response to this proposal passing, we actually saw a bit of a pump. So this was actually a bullish proposal. And right now, Atom is, well, still below $10, which, to be honest, in my opinion, is severely undervalued, but it still had this little pump. And we can see now that the inflation rate actually is set at 10%, which is currently at its maximum. And the staking APR is at 13.71%. We also see that the bonded ratio is still at around 65.7%. So below the 2/3 threshold, 66.7%. As soon as we go above 66.7%, you will see this inflation rate go down even further. Also, what was mentioned here in this proposal is that this was only the first of three. The next one that is coming is going to be to remove the 7% floor, which basically would allow Atom inflation to go to zero. And the next one is going to be the one that would increase the inflation rate change, which means the velocity or the speed at which the Atom inflation adjusts based on how much is staked to the network. So this would mean that the inflation would adjust much faster than what it currently is. And if you want to understand why that is all relevant, you can see here the formula, how the inflation rate is being calculated on the Cosmos Hub. We can also see the correlation between the bonded ratio and the inflation here on these graphs. For example, after the whole Atom 2.0 drama and the rejection of Atom 2.0, we saw a lot of big players unbonded, also some VCs that just exited the chain, which dropped the bonded ratio below 60%. And as a result of that, the inflation went over 16.17%, which was the peak as I think in the entire history of the Cosmos Hub. But after that, we saw the bonded ratio recover, actually go above 70%, which means that we were on the way down to the floor of 7%. So we went around 14 point something here. And then the bonded ratio has been going down, below 66.67%, which means the inflation slowly went up again. And then with proposal 848, we saw this hard reset down to 10%. But we also see that there was a bit of a spike here after the bottom out here of 64.3%. We saw that the bonded ratio has gone up to 65.66% right now. Now, I don't think this is a trend yet. I think we still have to give it a bit more time to decide and to see what's the trajectory now, because Jae Kwon, the founder of Cosmos, is very concerned about the security and the overall role and perception of Atom in all crypto, because Jae Kwon fundamentally believes in this idea of hub minimalism. Hub minimalism basically means that the Cosmos Hub and Atom as an asset should do as little as possible to increase potential risk surfaces, right? He really believes that the primary value proposition, the primary utility and killer application for Atom and the Cosmos Hub is to act as a security provider and for Atom to act as a staking token. He doesn't believe that Atom should be seen as interchain money. He doesn't believe in liquid staking on top of Atom and other providers also like Lido. I think he sees that as something that could pose systemic risk. And I'm sure that he's actually right with many of these concerns and thoughts about this. But I think that he fundamentally just thinks that the Cosmos Hub will do fine in the very long term. And security is going to be the primary killer application, and the way Atom would then accrue value is predominantly through fees. So this is where Jae comes from. And obviously, as the founder, the inventor, one of the smartest people in crypto, a lot of people actually listen to that and say, okay, this makes sense. And we also support that vision, right? So with the Atom halving and the passing of proposal 848, he now believes that this poses a risk, an essential risk for Atom that would decrease its security and basically destroy the whole system, right? Because the way he sees it is that we have very high maximum inflation rate because non-stakers would be punished and actually pay those that are staking with the delta between the inflation rate and the staking APR. Now, I also want to mention here that it's extremely important to understand that this whole Atom 1 fork idea is not something that necessarily came up as a result of proposal 848. It's now just being revamped, but this is actually an idea that came up all the way last year, to be precise, in November of 2022, where core contributors in Cosmos proposed Atom 2.0. And as an immediate result of that, which were really tense discussions, Atom 1 was proposed by Jae Kwon as a sentiment proposal, but it only got 3.9% of approval from 47% that have voted. And if you compare this to the Atom 2.1 proposal, we not only saw a much higher turnout in people voting, but also the majority actually voting for yes. This proposal only failed because it got vetoed. And if more than 1/3 are vetoing a proposal, it not only fails, but also the deposit, which is 250 atoms, gets burned. So this is actually be the case, but you can clearly see there's a 10-to-1 ratio, even 12-to-1 ratio between people that voted yes for Atom 2.0 and people that voted yes on Atom 1. So clearly the majority of the community does not want Atom 1. Clearly the community wants something like Atom 2.0, which was proposed and contained many things that are now being broken up into individual projects, individual ideas, such as liquid staking, shared security, the whole tokenomics revamp. And this is all coming back to the community pool one by one. And the entire Cosmos Hub community is voting on these proposals. And I also want to say that what really matters in the end of the day, this is a decentralized system. We have on-chain verification and proof that Atom is not controlled neither by its founder nor by core contributors such as Zaki Manian, Jack Zempolin, Sam Hart, people that have been around for many years because their proposal got rejected, Atom 1 got rejected, and now the tokenomics proposal actually passed, which basically means the community has its own positioning, and the community basically votes on these ideas independently from what the leaders, the perceived leaders and core developers are saying, right? So I think this is big win and big demonstration that the SEC is wrong labeling Atom as a security, because it clearly is decentralized and in the hands of the community. I just want to capture that here. And now let's go back and actually look into what Jae is proposing here. So Jae proposed Atom 1 back in November, gets rejected on chain, but he already drafted up a constitution, the Atom 1 constitution back then, which is an active document that's being adjusted and changed, work in progress, as he's saying here, with the time. So the whole vision here is for the Atom 1 fork to be an alternative minimal fork of Gaia, Gaia meaning the current Cosmos Hub and Atom, running alongside Gaia to prepare for all contingencies, and also to operate as a political party base in relation to Gaia. So Jae is actually saying here that he wants to fork Atom and he wants to launch Atom 1, but Atom 1 should not necessarily destroy Atom, but it should rather be complementary to Atom. And he actually also said that here in a recent tweet, that if the Atom 1 experiment works, it will be beneficial to Gaia too. The best case scenario we're aiming for is to make both secure, not just one. And if this works, the rails to global adoption spell themselves. I also think that Jae obviously holds a lot of Atom. His company, All in Bits, AIB, holds a lot of Atom. I think both together way more than 10 million atoms. So that's a lot of money. I think if he would dump it right now, he would basically exit Atom and have no voting power whatsoever. And also, he would basically go all in on Atom 1, which, to be honest, is an experiment that we've seen historically with other projects such as Ethereum, even Bitcoin, which not only had one split, but multiple splits. Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin this, Bitcoin that. We also saw obviously ETC. We saw now Ethereum proof of work when they switched to proof of stake. So we saw a lot of splits where so far there's always been one clear winner, and it's usually always the one that has the majority of the community backing it, right? So I think if Cosmos will have its fork moment, its split moment, it would be super hard for that fork, in that case Atom 1, to have the same traction as Atom, right? Because in the end of the day, you can fork the code, but you can't fork the community, you can't fork the awareness, you can't fork the liquidity, you can't fork accessibility, the token holder base. Well, maybe you can if you airdrop it to a bunch of people, but then also getting the narrative out, getting the time in production, time on mainnet is really, really hard. And that only comes with time, and it only comes with product market fit. Now, what is the product market fit here of Atom 1? Atom 1 is supposed to be a minimum IBC and interchain security hub. And that is exactly what Atom 1 is supposed to become. It's supposed to become an alternative IBC or ICS hub in addition to Gaia. So it doesn't look to completely replace Gaia, even though probably long-term that might actually be the goal. But it says here that it recommits to the original vision and primary mission of Gaia to serve as a minimal hub secured by a staking token that targets 2/3 of the stake to be bonded. And he's saying this can only be achieved if you have a very high maximum inflation rate that would basically punish non-stakers. And by the way, I talked about this with Jay himself over a year ago here on this YouTube channel, a long, long time ago. And then again, we talked about this with Zaki, which, to be honest, this was probably, I think this was the last time in recorded history that I had Zaki and Jay in one room together, even though it's virtual, but got them to speak to each other. I was very excited, as you can see clearly. Sunny was also there, and we talked about Atom 1 versus Atom 2. This is over a year ago, guys. This is a long time ago. So in addition to Atom, there would also be Photon, which is a second token for auto staking and basically replaces or resolves the liquid staking systemic risk that Jay is very concerned about. And eventually, the end goal here really is to have an ultimate, secure, minimal hub that focuses on providing security and minimizing the risk surfaces. So what is my actual conclusion here? My conclusion is that I give it a very low likelihood that this fork is actually going to happen. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because Jay also said that in November around the whole Atom 2.0 drama, and you could also clearly see from the on-chain votings that the community does not want this, right? I do think, though, if it happens, it would actually be a very good and bullish thing for Atom. Not only because the Atom community would most likely get an airdrop, even those that voted yes. I saw a tweet where he actually was saying that yes voters should also get some tokens, but much less than those that voted no on proposal 848 and also on proposal 82, which is the Atom 2.0 proposal. So he really wants to double down on those that were against these ideas, but also not exclude those that embrace them, right? And I think that alone could create some sort of alignment, I guess, between these two projects. But also, again, I think it's going to be very hard if the fork happens to maintain it, to make it successful, to have traction around it, to have a validated community around it, to have an actual community around it, right? This is like, again, something you can't fork, liquidity you can't fork, centralized exchange listings you can't fork, and all these things. Secondly, we're also still waiting for Noland to launch. Noland is a project that Jay has been working on for the past 2 years. And actually, we talked about this also in the stream 1.5 years ago that I did with Jay. And Noland is an alternative smart contract platform that the Atom community was teased to or promised to get 75% of the Genesis supply airdropped. So we're still waiting for this. And I think, given that here's Noland, given that AIB is also fully funding Noland and Noland developers, I don't see how they could manage to do both, how they could manage to run and make Noland successful while at the same time forking Atom and doing this whole Atom 1 thing with full force. Nonetheless, let's see. I am personally very bullish about Atom as it is. I'm very bullish about the improvements around interchain security with the Informal Systems team that just got funding for 2024, $5.7 million, funding secured to build out interchain security and make it as competitive as possible. We also see Effort Capital going to push out more proposals around the Atom tokenomics, implementing, for example, a liquid staking tax that would accrue value for Atom stakers, so that we slowly get away from this inflationary reward system that basically prints atoms out of thin air and actually go to on-chain revenue shares, where validators and delegators would get a share of real yield that's generated through real products that generate revenue. So this is really my thoughts and my 2 cents about Atom 1 and about Atom and the Cosmos Hub. If you want a deeper dive or follow-ups on any of the specific topics, please let me know. Now, while all these things are happening, we're just seeing absolute madness over at Celestia, the latest star on the Cosmos skies, the latest star in the Cosmoverse. $8.53, absolutely insane. I just refreshed it. It was $8.19. Now it's $8.53. Staking APR of over 17.5% and a supply of 1 billion tokens, which gives it a $8.5 billion fully diluted valuation. So TIA is actually on its way right now to become a $10 billion protocol. And I made a video about Celestia a couple of weeks ago. I actually made a video with Celestia founders almost 2 years ago. I think I was actually the very first crypto YouTuber to cover Celestia 2 years ago. And we've been doing updates throughout the past 2 years. So if you've been subscribed to this channel for a while, you know what I'm talking about. And you heard about Celestia a very, very, very long time ago. Also, they were always at Cosmoverse. That's just on the side note. And reason why you should be coming, because that's where you get the alpha. And the Atom and Osmo community got a really nice airdrop for that, which ranges now between $1,000 and $3,000 US. And if you had multiple wallets, this could easily be a 5-figure airdrop. So congratulations if you held on to your TIA, or if you've been staking throughout these days. You can actually also stake with us, Cito. We are actually one of the validators, and now actually quite up there, ranked 39. So thank you all for delegating. Much, much appreciated. And if you want to watch everything about Celestia, please go watch at least this video. But I also actually made a full-on playlist, which you can find here. If you go here on Celestia TIA content, and then it will just automatically play you the interviews I did here with John Adler. This is from, let's see, December 2021. So long time ago. We talked about the biggest launch in Cosmos 2023 here with Nick White. A lot of content. We had a debate with Sunny also, which is really interesting, about mesh security versus rollups and Celestia's data availability. So yeah, check that out. I think this is super educational and important content. In the meantime, enjoy the TIA pump. Let me know your thoughts about the whole Atom 1 fork and all these discussions. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Do you support it? Are you against it? And lastly, don't forget to compound your NUM tokens. I'm doing this here also with my Cito public Cosmos tutorial wallet, delegated here to Stake and Relax. Consider delegating to him also on other networks. And as we talk about the tutorial wallet, I just made an updated video about this. Let's actually refresh this now with this new TIA pump. We're now approaching, well, not break even, I don't want to say that, but 49% down. And TIA actually is right now the biggest holding, right? I got 257 TIA tokens airdropped here, which is $2,200 US. We also got the Pyth airdrop, of which I bought Atom with. So my Atom holdings now have almost doubled. So yeah, good times. I think we're recovering. We're seeing important relief. I don't think this is the full bull run yet, but I can really see how the entire Cosmos ecosystem is basically primed for a proper season, for a proper bull run. So looking forward to that. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe and be good.